I'm currently in the process of opening a business in France for the first time, and I wanted to share with you my experience of doing this. First of all, I'm doing this because I'm in the process of creating my own web apps, and I want to create also some mobile apps. And in any case, if I happen to have some freelance jobs to do or any other income coming outside of my 9 to 5, in France I'm obliged to declare it, and the only way that I found is to do it with a company. So depending what you actually need it for, you may need to use a different type of companies, since there are many types of companies in France. In my case, the easiest one is called the micro-entreprise, and basically it's an individual type of company, so there is no separation between me, the person, and the company, but it gives me the fiscal number that I can use to declare this income. The advantage of the micro-entreprise compared to other types like the SASU is that it's much more simpler, so there is fewer bureaucracy, but you have some disadvantages, like you cannot reduce your taxes due to your high cost. Like if you have many expenses that you want to deduct, you cannot do it for the micro-entreprise. And as well, there is a maximum amount of income that you can do with the micro-entreprise. In my case, it's around 77,000 euros per year. Since I'm just starting out, I don't think I will go over this, so for me it's totally fine. As well, my expenses are pretty low. For now, I'm not spending much for the servers, the email, and other technical infrastructure fee for my web applications. Of course, at some point these expenses become much more, or if I have other expenses that now I didn't anticipate, and also if I go over this amount of income, in that case I will be kind of forced to move to the other type of company. And just to clarify, the SASU is basically the LLC in France, where there is a complete separation from the physical person and the company, and you are in this way more protected for whatever happens in your business. But the disadvantage is that it's much more difficult to take out this money. As micro-entrepreneur, basically at the end of the year I need to declare my income together with my personal tax declaration, and then that income is mine. I can use it as I want. But if you are using a kind of LLC company, the only way to do it is to take it out as a salary. That is a much more complex procedure and bureaucracy and everything. Or you can take it as a dividend. And in that case, you need to pay the corporate tax plus the dividend income tax, so the capital gain. So in that case, it's another 30% in France. So it can be still valuable. So the choice of the company really depends on what you do, what is your income, and how you want to optimize also this taxation part. So let's continue with the procedure I had to do for this micro-entreprise. So basically the first thing to do is to register your company. You can do this totally for free on your own, but since I didn't want to make mistakes and I wanted to be sure to do the things right, I decided to use a service for this that basically just asked me a bunch of questions and collected all my documents and data, and then they register it for me. I also decided to use this service as well for domiciliation. So basically, in this way, the company is not set in my home address, but is set to their own address that is based in Paris in some office. In this way as well, I don't disclose my personal address to the world. Now, this first service took a fee, of course, for doing this registration. That was about 60 euros net in total. And for the domiciliation is actually a recurrent fee, so it's around 20 euro per month. So I paid in advance for 1 year, is 240 euros in total. For me, the domiciliation was important as well, since if you upload mobile apps on the Google Play Store, I don't know why they introduced this rule that you need to disclose always the developer address. So if you use your personal address, everyone that is checking out your account in the Google Play Store will know where you live. So if you care about your privacy and you don't want problems, it's probably better to separate the address of your company from your personal address. So after I finished this first step, and that it took really few time, I think I started in the evening, and then in the morning I already had my CRN number. That is basically the identifier number of your company in France that you will need to use for many things. I used a second service this time because I wanted to separate also my personal bank account from the company bank account. So I use this service called Indie that basically provides you with a professional bank account, but also I paid the subscription to use their invoicing software. So to this bank account is connected a software that helps you to keep track of all the invoices and help you with all the accounting in general. So there is not like a personalized service, but it should help you with all the recurrent declarations. So in my case, for one of the options is to decide if you want to pay the social security fees every month or every 3 months. In my case, I said every month. So in theory, from this software, every month I should be able to just click a button and declare how much I should pay for these taxes every month. Since I just opened like yesterday, now I still don't know how it works very well, so I will let you know maybe in an update video about how is it going using this software. But I hope that this will simplify even more all these declarations. Other things to consider for the micro-enterprise is that there are other taxes you need to care of. There is the CFE, basically a property tax related to companies that every company needs to pay. It's once per year, but in the first year that you open the company, you don't need to pay it. There are also some other exemptions from this tax. The most important is that if you make less than 5,000 euros per year, you don't need to pay it. So if for some reason your business is not thriving, so you don't make so much money, you don't need to care about paying for this. Now, the amount can vary city by city, so one of the advantages, for instance, of the domiciliation is that if you are supposed to pay a high property tax for your city, by basing in Paris, you should pay a bit less. In my case, I don't think it varies much. I'm not sure how they understand the threshold that you need to pay, but for the micro-enterprise, I understood that it's pretty low anyway. We are talking about 250 euros, something like that. But I guess it also varies on the income that you do in the year. Then the other taxes you need to pay, you need to declare them with your personal income tax every year. There is a specific field in your tax declaration where you can put the amount that you did the previous year just with the company, and they will use your bracket as personal income to decide how much you need to pay. Consider that there are some exemption of tax. Since you cannot deduct any expenses as micro-entrepreneur depending on the type of business, like if you're selling merchandise or if you're doing development, there are different exemptions of how much you need to pay. So it can be that you need to pay even less than 50% of what you earn as taxable income. Then there is the VAT tax. In this case, as micro-entrepreneur, actually you can avoid paying this. If you are below a certain threshold, again depends what you are doing. So if you sell goods, the threshold is very high. But if you're doing like freelancing or web development like me, in this case I think it's around 37,000 euros. So until that amount of income, you don't need to pay any VAT. After that, you need to start collecting it, and I think you can declare again every month or every 3 months or quarter. So depending on what you prefer. So again, since also this one is kind of difficult to keep track, if you have a lot of different sales with the software that I chose, in theory they should keep track as well of this. So what I'm paying right now for this software is around 14 euros per month. Paid in advance is like 170 something euros per year. And that's about all the main expenses that I had to just set up my business. Now, there are some other expenses you can consider doing, like taking the company insurance. Since there is no separation in the micro-enterprise between your physical person and the company, if there are some legal trouble, having an insurance that covers some expenses for this is is good, but I'm still deciding what to do for now, since I'm not actively selling anything, so I'm evaluating still. But this is something you can consider as well. I don't know if it is mandatory at a certain point. I understood that it's not requested when you're just starting out. Maybe there is a threshold as well as income, but I need to dig more into it. So my next steps for this process will be to wait, because I tried to register on the URSAF, but I discovered that it can take even 2 weeks and more for them to notify the creation of your company. So even though I already have the number, apparently the system is pretty slow to get updated. And after that I will be able to register myself, and with that I can start declaring any income for the social security expenses and other things. So you can see, to start this, in the end it's a bit of money, but actually if you want to do more things on your own, like registering the company and as well keeping track of all your expenses, the VAT, the declarations, you can save on this. Even the bank account is not mandatory to have the separation between your personal and the business one until you reach a certain threshold of income. Around now I don't remember which one, but I prefer to do from scratch, so every income that I will do is already declared there. And as well the bank account itself was free to create. Only the other software to keeping track of the accounting was the paid one. So in my opinion, you can just find a free or very cheap bank account to separate at least your expenses from your personal ones. For the domiciliation service, it's up to you, depends on if you don't care that your address can be seen. I think there is an option also to hide it from the registry of all the companies, so they cannot see your real address. But in my case it was important, because even if I hide it there, when I register to Google Play any app, my address will be visible. So in my case, I didn't want to disclose the address to the world, so it was kind of a necessity to have this domiciliation. Now, last thing you need to consider if you want to be a micro-entrepreneur in France is that depending on where your income is coming from, you may have an additional step of declaration. For instance, if you're getting money from Europe, there is a system, an internal custom system, that you need to declare the VAT coming from other countries. This is the case, for instance, if you make money with YouTube from AdSense. Since Google will pay you from Google Ireland, you need to declare this income also on a portal, the Douane Français, something like that. And for this, you need to do a declaration similar to the VAT tax you do every month, also in this website. And this is only for the income coming from inside Europe, but not France. So in my case, most of the income I think will come from Stripe or directly inside France. So in that case, I shouldn't do this declaration, but if for any reason I start getting money from other countries in Europe, I also have this step to do. And that's about it. So if you have any question, please let me know in the comments section, and maybe I will do an update video in the future as well to reply to any additional question that you have about this process, or let me know anyway if you have already experienced all this process and what do you think about it. So thanks again for watching, and see you in the next video.